We're going to get into this here in a second as people get on. Welcome to, I guess it's Tuesday morning. It's the 30th. We're coming to the end of this year, 2025. For some of us, we believe it already has been the end of the year, but, welcome, to our live today. I'm trying to do these lives every day. There's nothing special about me. I mean, if anyone's been on these, you can talk to my family. There's really nothing special about me. I just am really excited about what's going on in our world. And I feel that over this last year, there's been a great awakening. And maybe for a while there's been a great awakening, but 2025 has been a massive awakening. And, I want to give you a little bit of my history, some of my stories, a little bit of like, why would you even be listening to some bald dude talk about, health? Or, why would you read some of my articles or run some of my posts and post on them? And, it's kind of cool because, what I do is I write these little posts and I research and I write these posts and I put them in these different groups and I get, literally thousands and thousands of different comments through the month of, different people's perspective. And it's amazing what's going on in our world today. And it doesn't, I try to, I'm not in like this group or that group. I'm in a whole array of groups. I'm in, homeschool groups. I'm in mental health groups. I'm in, I used to drink, so I'm in a sobriety groups. I'm in groups with spiritual awakening. And I literally try to be in these groups to learn. I like to learn because I had something happen to me a year ago that I couldn't explain. And I found through going through these different, going through these different groups and writing through these different groups, it's pretty amazing that all of humanity, basically, we're all feeling the same thing. And it's, we're feeling some kind of weird anxiety. We're feeling some kind of magnetic pull. And so as I write these articles about, how we might be feeling and some of the changes that our body's going through, some people are just being, all of a sudden they're starting to be drawn to just eating like fruits, like lighter food, or getting away from eating meats, and they don't even know why. Some people, maybe there's some addictions that are falling. I've last year, in the middle of the year, my wife just stopped smoking. She's been smoking for, I don't know, a long time before I ever met her. And then just last year, in the middle of nowhere, just stopped. She's just like, she almost just like outgrew it. That happened with me with drinking, and it happened with me with, with tobacco. Maybe it's a processed food. Maybe you like fast food, and all of a sudden, just last year, you're like, man, I just don't want fast food. There's just something weird about it. Or maybe you're drawn to learning things that you've never thought about learning before. You just always have like incredible pull to learn some kind of, new thing, and it almost makes you not want to go to your job, and you're feeling weird, and you don't know what's happening to you. Well, welcome to awakening. This is just the world we live in right now. I really believe something happened this last year in 2025. And it happened globally, and it happened to maybe even more than globally, and it happened to us. It doesn't matter if you live in, Japan, or if you live in India, because I write these articles and they literally go around the whole world, and everybody, I'm talking to people in Israel, Poland, I'm talking to people in, places I've never even heard before, countries, and people are messaging me, and all humanity is feeling these same things. They're feeling some weird, odd pains in their bodies that they just can't understand, or electrical currents. Maybe they feel some kind of like tingling or some electronic currents, migraines popping up. Maybe your legs or your arms are getting hot, warmer. And I don't want to diagnose people, but people are getting misdiagnosed just because literally our DNA is changing. Our DNA is changing. Now, how do I know this? There's this bright young lady who's part of these groups that I follow, and she's in a group there. There's a guy who's a high leader, and I follow him, and she has amazing things. And she wrote this post this last week, and it was basically just a post of, she tries to eat, mainly just fruits, or raw vegan. It's to each their own, right? I don't care what people do. And it went viral. Like literally had this just what happened yesterday, went like 1,000, 1,000 different comments. It's pretty cool when that happens. And I was reading through them, And I couldn't believe half of them, the amount of attacks that were on this young woman who's just trying to eat right. She's a young woman, she's an entrepreneur, and she's not even forceful how she talks or mean about it. She's pretty kind, and I'm just watching like these people, and as men and women are just going at her, making her look and feel or try to just tear her down. And I bet you're seeing that. I bet you're seeing that. Because this is, when I'm writing these articles on all of humanity, I'm seeing this all over. Last month, it was 100,000 views a day, and it was globally, and I was getting the same comments literally all over. And it's these type of things. It seems like some people are kind of getting worse, and other people are like, what the heck's going on? Now, I hope I don't swear, but I might in this a little bit, because this stuff gets me pretty fired up, because this is how I woke up last year. A little over a year ago, this was me. This was my morning. I'd wake up with a little hangover, depending on what the night was. If it was during the day, it didn't even matter. It was the middle of the week. I could wake up in a hangover. I had that yucky feeling. I might have had to puke a little bit the night before just to like get the acids down, because I didn't know what was really going on. And then I'd wake up and I'd have to pop my Prozac. Nothing wrong with Prozac if you take Prozac, but if you're having to do it just because you literally are numbing yourself out. This was me a year ago, so I'd pop my Prozac to try to get myself somewhat regulated again, to get the hangover down a little bit. And then I'd be wondering all day long, what am I going to do tonight? How am I going to drink tonight? What kind of processed food am I going to use to make this problem go away? Meanwhile, I probably already 10, 11 games in my video game, Clash Royale, in the morning time, trying to make my stress go away, during the day, playing video games. I'd be really depressed right now, this time of the season, because the Lions just got, eliminated from the playoffs. So I'm a die-hard Lion fan last year, all my life. I'd probably be pretty depressed about that. None of these things are bad in themselves, but you see how they would layer up, and then, on top of that, I was smoking. On top of that, I was just depressed, and, I'd go to work, hate my job. And this was just a year ago, and then I was, to make myself feel better, I'd get really politically activist, be a real big Republican, and very staunch on my political views, and make sure that I'd use my religion to make sure everyone knew that I'm better than them. That was me a year ago, the typical man, typical man. I didn't really know any better. And at 45, literally the last week of my 45 year, something happened. Something cracked open. And it happened in my backyard. And it happened on a time where I just stopped drinking. And it happened with a time where I was searching my soul out. I knew something was different with my soul, because I had some kind of experience in my room when I stopped drinking. And I was eating some fruits, and all of a sudden something cracked open. I want to talk about that a little bit. Because what do we do with humanity right now? This is really important. The reason I even do these calls is not because I want you guys to think that I have some great information. It's to help you freaking remember who you are. You already know all these things I'm talking about. This year, I just had the opportunity, because I've been caretaking for my mom, to be able to detach from humanity and stay out in these woods and learn from nature. It's been pretty amazing. I stopped listening to everybody else. I turned the news off. I turned all the different, noise off, and I started making my own diet up. I started eating fruits and different things that I felt my soul was telling me to do. I started listening to programming and, different reels, and reading things that my soul was telling me to and aligning with my soul. And anyone can do this. My whole hope is that we can collectively come together and grow and learn together and learn from different things. But right now, what I'm seeing is just a lot of people, they don't have language for this yet. And I want to help bring language to this. I want people to understand what's happening, because in 2025, something happened in our world. And it's been happening since, in my opinion, since 2012, the end of the Mayan calendar. That was a beginning of a new age, according to, different prophecies and scriptures and different things like that. So we're on this new age, 2012, but a lot of people didn't feel it. 2025, something came through and a mass awakening happened. And a lot of people don't even know what's happening to them yet. You're having an awakening, an awareness. You're having maybe, some people might call it even a Kundalini awakening. There's different types of awakenings. Really what it is your soul is connecting to your heart. Now, here's the best way I can describe this, because I am not like an expert in a lot of things, but for this last year, I've spent nearly 20 hours a day, literally searching what's happening in my body. Like a maniac. Since day one, I've wanted to know. And next week is going to be 1 year of sobriety. So I've been going down for a year. I've been searching. Now, since this last year, I've stopped playing video games. I have no desire for it. Don't want any meat. Have no desire for it. Haven't touched a drop of alcohol. Don't have any desire for it. I gave up the lines. Don't have any desire for it. I'm so glad I'm not depressed. I didn't pour all my energy into a sports team that they don't have any allegiance to really our state or anybody. They just their paychecks. I've almost just stopped everything and went on a quest to find out what the crap is going on with this electricity. What the heck is happening in here? Because I don't think it's as complicated as we want to make it. I think there's enough science out there. I really encourage people to get in Heart Math Institution. They've been studying this stuff. Scientists, like literally science. The professional NBA teams and the Seattle Seahawks and a lot of people, they go to these clinics and they know that this stuff is proven. They have proven results in this. And how this works is this heart math, what they do is they've been able to prove that we have this field around our body. It goes out to at least 3 feet that they can detect right now. Now, it probably goes farther than that, but it's been able to detect it. And this is why when you go to the doctors and you have a heart problem, they check you with a rhythm on an electronic magnet thing, because that's how our heart works. They know this. So the reason this could be so hard, and I'm going to talk to men for a second, because men have a hard time with heart talk, right? Because up to this point, it's always been so abstract. You have to be in touch with your heart, and it's almost like this feminine thing. And I'm not saying that's bad, but the problem is a lot of guys, we're taught that we don't want to deal with heart things because it's soft. Now, I'm talking about something that's as real as like these fingers. It's as real as your ears, your nose, your mouth. What is our mouth? Let's just think about our lips and our tongue. They're just these parts of our body. But when we use them right, and we use a vibration from our vocal cords, it pushes out a vibration that changes the world. You understand that? Without our lips and our tongue, that vibration would not be able to go out anywhere and change the world. That's not abstract. That's chemistry. That's our biology. That's our body. The same thing with our heart. Our heart isn't just this thing pumping blood and just keeping us alive, okay? And this heart isn't this abstract thing that, Jesus talked about in the Bible, or, this guy talked about when we talk about heart thing. The heart is literally the heart. It is our battery. It is our life force. It's everything to us. When this heart, we've been taught it looks like this. If you actually look, it's almost wrapped around itself in a vortex almost thing. And what happens is the blood goes around it and it starts spinning so fast and magnetizing so fast that it creates a magnetic pull through our body. It's amazing. And with that, it creates this field. And what happens is when we're little babies, we come out with this field. We're born with this field bright. You actually can see when the egg and the sperm hit together, when it actually conceives, they show this, they've been able to detect this poof, this big bright light poofs out, right? And that's the creation of this. That's your spirit. That's why our body's actually in our spirit. Our spirit's not in our body. Our body's in a spirit. This light force is around us, in us, around us, surrounding us. And it's kind of like when it holds this body up, it holds this thing up, right? And so it starts right here in the heart. And this field around us, when we're babies, it's strong. But what happens right away? Man, we come into this world, and right away, shit's happening to us, man. We get knocked down, right? We get people we're pulling us out. We have these bright lights that are coming in. They're not the bright light. They're not the lights that we're used to from wherever we came from. Isn't it interesting that religion loves to talk about what happens after life, but rarely will they ever talk about what happens before life, even though in the scripture there's more talk about before life than after life. We don't talk about that, but that's besides the fact. So we come into this world where we're seeing, we get poked, they're shoving needles in us, they detach us from our moms, they put us on this table, there's blood going all over, plop us on our mom, and then everyone's exhausted. And then, so what happens to this field is we're scared and it starts to pull in. Now, I'm not going to get into all the life forces and chakras because this affects everything inside of us. Our whole spirit is affected by right here. Someone said this, I think, in a book before. All the issues of life come from right here. So we start to close this thing up, right, as little kids, because we got to protect it. And then we start to open it up. The mom looks at us, and we come home, and it calms down. We start to slowly, but then, mom and dad get in a fight. And it's one of these things, and pretty soon what happens is, in this world, it's chaotic. I just don't know anyone that's ever been able to get in and out of here without having a lot of trauma. And what happens is that trauma starts to pull that field in, and it starts to dim our light. It starts to dim our light. And that field starts to shrink. There's not much there. Now, here's what's happened in 2025. 2025, there's been a couple things that happen. One is the Schumann resonance has changed. That's our Earth's magnetic field. They track this. I've never heard of this stuff before. It's amazing. When I first started having all these feelings, I somehow knew to look this stuff up. That's amazing. I mean, that's incredible in itself. I somehow knew that whatever was happening out there in the space was doing stuff in here. And it was amazing because I started realizing some of the times when I was having the most peak energy, spiritual things, I realized it was when northern lights were popping up on the news. And I'm like, what is happening with this northern light? How is this all connected? Then I found out that there's solar flares. So one of the big things is solar flares. Now you might think this is weird stuff. That's just because we've been programmed that it's weird stuff. The same people that tell you that you're supposed to eat blood and guts 3 times a day or you're weird, and make sure you have meat with everything you have, and, buy this chemical and wash your food with, plastics, and, these same people that, we've been taught are the experts. They're the same one that want you to feel weird for believing this stuff. But 2025, it's almost like that Band-Aid is getting ripped off, and we're starting to realize that there is a lot of stuff happening that we had no idea about. And we're starting to wake up to this and have great awakenings. Now, some people, like I said, a lot of people are going to go down this bad path, because these solar flares are hitting, and it's going to ignite things in our DNA. That's why it's so important that you get outside and you get your eyes into the sun a little bit. You want the sun to, in the wintertime, it's cold. I still walk miles and miles every day in the wintertime. I get out there and I take my gloves off a little bit. I make sure the sun hits my eyes. They want us to think that if we look at the sun, it's going to burn our eyeballs out. I don't know how that's possible. Don't look at it for more than just literally all you got to do is look for it till it's 2 seconds and close your eyes and you can still see it. You want the sun to hit your body. It's very important. They don't want the sun touching us. Once you get in that sun, these solar flares, they're going to do a lot to you. You got to understand there's particles blasting through you all the time, and some of these particles are stardust. It's literally a thing. You can document, you can find this. There's stardust that comes at us, and we don't really know how this all is happening, but we know that there's been enough evidence in science and even prophecies to say that right now this is when it's happening. We're getting these flares coming at us. So solar flares are hitting us. At the same time, these solar flares they're manipulating, I guess you would say, the Schumann resonance a little bit. So the Schumann resonance, how the Schumann resonance works is it works with the electricity that's already inside our atmosphere. So it goes by, they say the lightning, and there's different things, but that's changed. The Schumann resonance has changed. It's different. The broad width of it is changing. The spikes are changing, and this isn't bad. Now, a lot of people are really freaked out about this, and this is why I tell people, man, you're gonna have a little pain, I guess, because we beat our body up so bad. The pain that we're feeling is it getting the trauma out of our body. That's the pain. Now, we don't like pain, but we put ourselves in these positions. For instance, I couldn't pick up my shoulders over my head 6 months ago. I couldn't do this. Right here hurt so bad. Why? Because my fascia was what they call glue. The glue fascia, I think it's called, or glue shoulders or whatever. Because that fascia had tightened up, and I was so dehydrated I couldn't even pick my... Now, according to the experts, there's literally no... Basically, I was just going to have surgery. That's all I could do. There's nothing, you know, it's arthritis. And I mean, it's arthritis. Everything's arthritis or fibromyalgia, or, you know, I'm not saying there's not, these things don't happen, but I think a lot of times when they don't understand to call it, they throw it at these things. Well, how did this change, Brutes? How did it change working with the, you know, the magnetic field that's around you? Because this field, what happened to me when I stopped drinking, this field started opening it up again. And you want this. This is why when you're going through trauma opens us up if you go back to the pain a little bit, because your heart is holding it in. And the goal is to let your heart heal it. We want to feel it and heal it because all our emotions are being trapped right in the heart. So the more you start to open up your heart, then what happens is spiritually the rest of your body starts to sync together. And that's this field now. It can radiate around us up to 3 feet that we know. Now, 2025, age of Aquarius, I have a feeling that 3 feet goes a lot farther. Now, 3 feet is what the scientists can prove. And you got to believe that they're very picky what they let scientists determine with this, because they just want you to feel like you're going to be able to take these pills and everything is going to be fine. Just depend on the experts. But the experts are losing right now because these solar flares, the Schumann resonance, and our hearts are starting to open. And there's a lot of people when their heart starts to open like this, and they start freaking out because it scares them. They don't want to deal with the trauma. That's why a lot of people are going like this. So what does that mean for you? You want this heart to get bigger because the earth has its own magnetic field around it too. The same thing. She looks just like us. Do you know that you're 71% water? Do you know our earth, our Mother Earth, is 71% water? Do you know that the earth has a heartbeat just like we do? You know, I believe that oil that's inside the ground is the earth's blood. It beats. And we have the same, we're literally just, we are part of the earth. We're the same, we operate the same. So we have this field around us, so does our earth, so does our Mother Earth. And how does that, so that our Mother Earth, can you imagine the amount of information she has, the amount of intelligence she has? Can you imagine the amount of healing that she knows that you don't, and that's in this current, this magnetic field that they're tracking, that they've been able to track? Now, the goal is to get our heart to be able to sync up with this current, because that's what 2025 going into 2026 is going to start doing. More and more, whether you like it or not. That's why I'm doing these videos. I know not a ton of people are on them yet, but I also know that when I woke up, I wish somebody was telling me this stuff because I had no freaking clue what was going on. And now that I know what's going on, I just want people to know it's really simple. We need to get our hearts open more. Well, how do we do that? I'm going to give you 3 things and then we're going to get off this. Number one is fruits. Eating right. You know, I'm not just going to say fruits, but I'm going to say fruits are probably the best thing you can eat. Nutrients, you need to get rid of as much as possible processed food. Now, I am not the type of person that says get rid of. And I'm not the type of person that says that everything should be black and white. You know, I eat chocolate chip cookies last night. I ate a bowl of ice cream last night. I ate cheese breadsticks last night. You know, like I don't just eat fruits. Now I know I'm not a fruitarian, I guess I would say, but I also know I ate about 6 pounds of fruit yesterday. I ate a pineapple. I ate 2 oranges. I ate 3 kiwis. I ate a carton of strawberries. Avocados. Probably 4, 5, 6 pounds of fruit. So why am I saying that? You need to hydrate your body. Your body is the most important thing you have. The more you're fighting your body, if you're going to keep on putting processed food and alcohols and, you know, maybe I don't like nuts, so I'm not going to eat nuts. Well, you know, then maybe don't complain so much when the pain comes, because you can put yourself in a lot better situation if you're just putting the right in. Honey, tea, you know, hydrate yourself with fruits. Vegetables are okay, but there's some electricity in it. Spinach is a really good one, full of serotonin. I'd lay off the meats, especially red meats. You know, definitely stay away from the alcohol. That's one big thing you can do. You can get your body in a position, don't have to be perfect, just be smart. You know, There's a reason why my body was able to lose 65 pounds this year, and I eat incredible amount. It's because my body knows how to move it with my soul and my spirit. Once you get aligned, it knows how to process all this with your heart. Your heart is the reason why you're gaining so much weight. I'm telling you guys, your heart is the reason why you're having so much diet problems. The heart is the reason why you're trying to, you try in this diet and that diet and you might get results, but you go right back. It's because the heart needs to get fixed. It all starts with the heart, guy. We get the heart right, it all gets right. That's why men need to understand this. If you know some guys, share this with some guys, man. This isn't about weak stuff. This is about our organ. This heart needs to get healed. And so that's why blueberries and blackberries and a lot of fruits literally heal. I eat pomegranates like crazy. Why? It heals our blood and heals our heart. Physically, emotionally. What's the second thing we can do? The second thing we can do, gratitude. We have in our brain, it's not just enough to do it here. In our brain, we have decisions that we can make all the time. We have decisions. And we have a negative decision and a positive decision. You think about it. We are batteries, negative, positive. We're created in this matrix, and this is how you just think about this. You could do everything right, but if your brain is going negative all day long, you're going to follow that. The universe is going to render you what your brain is going after. This was my problem for so long. Very logical. I thought too much up here. Now, here's the thing. If you're an overthinker like me, that's not bad. Just think on good things. Even the Bible says whatsoever is just and pure and lovely and a good report, if there's anything praiseworthy, if anything virtuous, think of these things. There's a reason why. Because when you start thinking on positive things, the universe, our God, and everything starts pulling in that direction. But the problem is we have to take literally every thought captive because our brain likes to create stories. It likes to figure things out, and it wants to pull negative. And our society wants to pull negative. And I really believe that's part of this game that we live in, is just going negative. And so our goal is to learn how to go positive. So hold on one second. And with this positive, we want to learn how to take this heart that we have, okay, and when we start to have gratitude. I'm sorry, my phone got a little clicked up here for a minute. With gratitude, we want to start thinking. If you're just going to be thinking of negative, now here's where I see a lot of people. Once you start getting some brain functioning going on, you might start seeing some truths that you don't like hearing. You might start seeing once you're remembering, you might start seeing some memories of your ancestors. This was a hard one for me. You might start thinking some, religious things, and get mad about religion. And my thing with that is, if you're only going to go negative, that's going to pull you into a negative thing. It's not to say you shouldn't be searching and looking where we come from. But the majority of our time, we should be in thankfulness. We should be looking for truths that help us learn more. We should be thinking about ways to help our fellow man out there, our brothers and our sisters. Not everyone's going to listen to us. Don't focus on them. Focus on the ones that want to hear. And the third thing we can do is we can just be aware. Just be aware. Be aware that there's a lot of people out there that don't know any of this. They have no idea what's going on with them. That's why I even do this, because, man, I woke up and I stopped drinking, and all of a sudden all these things and these feelings and these emotions were hitting me, and I was telling everyone, I feel like my head's connecting to my heart, but I don't know how. And this is how. And we can explain it to people. So I want to be able to get people on this. I'm going to start doing this once a day. There might be a day or here I have to miss it or whatever, but I'd really like to get people on here once a day. I don't have to be the only one talking on these things, I guess. But, I want to make sure that people understand me. There's results that can come from this, man. Do you want to lose some weight? Do you want to be able to wake up, and get 5-6 hours of sleep and just feel energized all the time? Do you want to be able to have the brain capacity just to learn? There's a lot of things that the fruits that can come from this that I've been able to experience this last year. And I have this unique ability, just because of the way I write posts, to be able to speak with thousands and thousands and thousands of people globally on what's happening. And I'm telling you, we're all feeling it. We're all feeling it. And so we have some answers. And over time, 2026, buckle up. Buckle up. It's going to be a fun year. It's going to be an enlightenment year, and it's going to be a year where, yeah, some people are going to get more and more negative. We're going to love them where they're at. We're not even going to focus on them. We're going to grow in our capacity to love even more, because even some of them might join us. But we're going to be the best at growing ourselves and loving each other. 2026, and eat fruits.